He controlled billion-dollar mergers with a single phone call, but he couldn't get his own son to eat a single bite. As Marcus Whitfield sat rigid in his Italian suit watching his 8-year-old son Jamie rock back and forth in the velvet booth of Leonard, the untouched $200 lobster dish growing cold while other diners cast judgmental glances, each whisper tightening Marcus's jaw until he whispered, "Jamie, please, people are watching." This wasn't just about autism but about love, regret, and the courage to truly see others. And then something extraordinary happened when a black waitress approached with movements so gentle they felt choreographed, knelt beside Jamie without a word, and began humming a soft melody. And Marcus didn't realize she wasn't just any waitress, as within 3 minutes the boy who hadn't spoken in 2 years was eating from her hands, leaving Marcus staring in shock, wondering who she was and how she had done what expensive specialists couldn't. 3 days earlier, the elevator had climbed 60 floors in silence as Marcus, CEO of Whitfield Industries, stood in his corner office watching the city like a chessboard he controlled, his empire spanning healthcare, education, and technology. Yet the one life that mattered most remained unreachable, and when his assistant announced the car was ready for dinner with Jamie, Marcus closed his eyes, bracing for another obligatory father-son meal with a child living in a world he couldn't enter. Across town, Kesha Williams tied her apron in the cramped break room of Leonard, moving with the efficiency of someone used to carrying burdens silently, her hands marked by double shifts and her eyes holding understanding born from loving the overlooked, remembering how 10 years earlier those same hands had guided special needs children through breakthroughs, before life reduced her to carrying plates and swallowing pride. Meanwhile, Jamie sat in the backseat of a Mercedes tracing patterns on the window, living in a 17-room mansion yet finding safety in one quiet bedroom, and at the restaurant the evening unfolded predictably as Marcus ordered curtly. Jamie covered his ears at the jazz music, Kesha noticed the signs of sensory overload, Marcus cajoled and bargained, Jamie rocked and hummed, and diners stared, until Kesha knelt to Jaime's eye level and hummed, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star," in a gentle minor key matching his rhythm, stilling his hands as his eyes met hers, moving a piece of lobster in the same pattern he traced, turning dinner into a quiet dance, and Jamie leaned forward and opened his mouth while Marcus watched in stunned silence as his son ate bite after bite, his body relaxing for the first time in months, the look on his face showing that something had finally begun. Her heart was full of possibility, and the Riverside Learning Center was her sanctuary, a place where different minds weren't deficits to fix but gifts to unwrap, where she reminded her aide that children weren't broken, they just spoke a different language and it was their job to learn it. 8-year-old Marcus Jr. from the wealthy district would have thrived there, though Kesha didn't know that then, only believing that love and patience could unlock any door. 5 years earlier, Marcus sat in a boardroom reviewing quarterly reports with surgical precision as the education division showed declining profits, and he ordered the special needs programs cut for not being cost-effective, signing the papers with the same hand that would later struggle to feed his own son, the irony lost on him. 2 years earlier, at Jaime's first diagnosis appointment, Marcus sat across from Dr. Hendricks as the words autism spectrum disorder echoed in the sterile room, learning his son would need specialized care even as funding for programs had been cut, and Marcus barely heard the rest as his empire crumbled in the space of his son's silence. In the weeks that followed, Marcus began requesting Kesha's section every time he brought Jamie to dinner, watching as the boy who couldn't sit still at home spent hours peacefully eating under her gentle guidance while she taught Marcus small things, how to dim his phone screen, speak in lower tones, and approach Jamie from the side, each lesson feeling like a new language money couldn't translate. One evening Marcus admitted she was good with his son and asked where she learned, and she replied simply with practice, though her voice carried in spoken volumes. Marcus began arriving early and staying late as other patrons complained, but Kesha always seated them in the quietest corner, creating peace amid chaos, until restaurant management questioned why their most exclusive waitress spent so much time with one difficult child and gossip magazines mocked the Billionaire CEO's connection to a server. The real threat came when Marcus's former wife Margaret Sinclair read the tabloids from Monaco and saw an opportunity, declaring to her lawyer that the situation was inappropriate and demanding custody. The evening everything changed began like the others, but Marcus noticed heaviness in Kesha's step, and as she helped Jamie eat, the boy reached out, touched her hand, and spoke his first words in 2 years, calling her Mama Kesha and asking if she was hungry, leaving Kesha in tears and Marcus feeling a wall crack inside his chest as he realized she had been caring for everyone but herself. For the first time they truly saw each other simply as two people who loved the same remarkable child, and when Marcus asked her to tell him about herself, it was a plea, not a command. The custody papers arrived with paparazzi photos that painted an intimate picture, and Margaret's lawyers argued instability and inappropriate boundaries, forcing Marcus into a legal battle that reflected the broken system he had helped create, as his attorneys warned the case would be framed around race and class and urged him to distance himself, something he couldn't do. The media pressure forced Kesha into unpaid leave. Jamie regressed without her calming